Hello, my name is Stephen Jayson and I'm the managing attorney of the Jayson Law Group LLC, a law firm based in Union, New Jersey. Welcome to the 7th video in our series on the legal aspects of starting a small business in New Jersey. In this video, we're going to take a broad look at corporations. But before I begin, I would just like to start with a brief disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Any statements made by me during the course of this video do not constitute legal advice, nor is it a solicitation for business. Furthermore, no attorney-client relationship is created through the course of this video, and I recommend that you seek the advice of legal counsel before forming your business. As I said earlier, today we're going to take a look generally at corporations. And what is a corporation? Well, New Jersey defines a corporation as a business entity that can issue shares, is owned by shareholders, and is governed by a board of directors. There are 3 types of corporations in New Jersey. There are S corporations, C corporations, and professional corporations. Now, in later videos, we'll take a look at S corporations and C corporations, and we won't be looking at professional corporations because they're just limited to a certain number of professions. And why are they called S and C corporations? Well, that's because of the subsection of the tax code that regulates those types of corporations. But again, we're going to get to S corporations and C corporations in later videos. In order to form a corporation, you must file an Articles of Incorporation with the state of New Jersey. You also must register with the IRS for an EIN number, or Employer Identification Number. And you can think of that like the Social Security number for your business. You must draft bylaws of the corporation, which essentially is the way that the corporation will be governed. You can think of it as the corporation's constitution, if you will. So what are some of the benefits of a corporation? It's going to offer the maximum amount of protection for the owners of the business. It allows for ease in raising capital. You can think of an IPO declaring on a stock exchange. They're usually going to be corporations. Obviously not every corporation is raising capital by declaring an IPO, but just to give you sort of an example of the ease of capital. They last in perpetuity, which I know sounds silly, but if you recall from our video on limited liability companies, you used to have to say that the limited liability company was going to last in perpetuity. You don't have to do that with a corporation. It's assumed that that is the case. You can have multiple owners of a corporation. And depending on the type of corporation, there are some limitations, but with some corporations, you can have 1 million shareholders, and that's not going to be an issue, at least from a legal standpoint. From a practical standpoint, there may be some issues. It allows for a formal corporate structure and governance, which means that you can have spin-offs, you can do subsidiaries, mergers and acquisitions under corporations. So that's some of the benefits. You can also distinguish between the different types of shareholders. You can have preferred shareholders, Class A shareholders, Class B shareholders, which is nice because you may want to treat certain classes of shareholders differently. Now, that's not true for all corporations, but it does allow for that to occur. You can pay a dividend to the shareholder. So if the corporation has excess money at the end of the year that it wants to pay to its shareholders, it can, and that's known as a dividend. You can amend the bylaws, just like you can the Constitution. But the way to amend the bylaws is actually found in the bylaws themselves. So depending on how you craft the bylaws of your company, your corporation, would define how you can amend the bylaws at a later date. So what are some of the negatives of a corporation? Well, some corporations are double taxed. What do I mean? If the corporation makes a profit, it pays income tax on the profits. And then when it pays money to you, you also pay income tax on the money that the corporation pays to you. It's a very rigid structure. Case in point, in New Jersey, you must have a board of directors meeting at least once a year, and you must have minutes from the meeting. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking of forming a corporation. They're expensive to form and maintain. You must file an annual report with the state of New Jersey. And when I say they're expensive, I don't mean that they're thousands upon thousands of dollars. I mean compared to something like a partnership or a sole proprietorship, they're more expensive. So just keep that in mind as well. You cannot always create different classes of stock. There are some limitations, but again, we'll talk about that when we talk about S corporations and C corporations. And lastly, each class of stock must be treated the same. So all Class A shareholders must be treated the same, all Class B shareholders or C shareholders, unlike in an LLC or limited liability company where you can have different units meaning different things for different members. Well, that concludes our look at our broad overview of corporations. I look forward to continuing our exploration of corporations by looking more closely at C corporations and S corporations. And until then, good luck.